Hello, sixth graders, and welcome to week 3 of distance learning. Last week we did some review of integers, and we discussed positive and negative numbers, adding and subtracting integers, absolute value, and inequalities. We're going to continue that work this week during doing some work with absolute value. I want to remind you that if you need help with any of this, please feel free to come to my office hours, which are Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. That is a great time to ask me questions on anything that you are learning, in these videos, okay? Okay, so let's dive into today. Today we're going to continue our discussion on integers. I'm going to take some notes, so I would like it if you also continued taking notes with me. Last week you had taken some notes on absolute value on hopefully just a random piece of paper that you have. So we're going to continue on that. Just like we did last week, we're going to fold it in half, and we're going to continue taking notes on this back side. So that way when we get our INBs, hopefully tomorrow, we'll see, you can just glue this in and you have all of your notes ready. Okay, so take a moment to grab a piece of paper, and if you don't have one from last week, then grab one please, and make sure you have a pencil also. So if you need to pause the video, this is a great time to do it, so go ahead and pause. Okay, so we are going to do a review of opposites on a number line. I want to start by looking at a math symbol that we are very familiar with, the minus sign. We first encountered this symbol way back in kindergarten or first grade. We most commonly know this symbol as a subtraction sign, which means we are taking away or moving to the left on a number line. Like this, 8 minus 3. So we go from 8 and we count backwards 3. Okay. We also know that this symbol can represent the word negative, like this, -6, which, if we look at a number line, looks like this, 0 minus 6. So let's write some of those down, okay? So we're just going to title this page opposite of. Okay. So we started with that sign. So this sign, I'm going to just put it in a circle so we remember, can represent subtraction. It can represent negative. And it can also mean the opposite of something, okay? So we had done, for subtraction, we did 8 minus 3, which equals 5. We did a negative number, which is like -6. And then we'll do the opposite of in a little bit, okay? So today we're going to take a look at another way to view the symbol. Sometimes when we see this symbol in algebra, it can mean the opposite. The opposite of a number is the number that is the same distance from 0 as it is, but on the opposite side of the number line, when using 0 as a center line. So what I'm going to do real fast is just create a quick number line here. And I'm going to ask you to do the same, and I'm going to have 0 in my center. Okay, and I'm going to go out about 8 if I can. Okay, so let's just quickly number those. And if you need more time than what I'm giving you right now, please pause the video. That's the great thing about doing this, is you don't have to worry about me going too fast. I know I do in class sometimes, so here's a great chance to pause. Okay, so I have my number line all set up, and now I'm going to talk about opposite of. So just a reminder, the opposite of a number is the same distance as that original number, but on the opposite side of the 0, okay? So let's talk about this number, -9, okay? So 9, this right here, that symbol means the opposite of And this part right here is my number, and that's going to go right there. So the opposite of 9. So, of course, I don't have 9 on my number, so let's squeeze it in there. -9. Sorry if you can hear my cat. She's going to the bathroom right now, and my cat box is right next to my desk out here. Distance learning is so fun. Okay, so 9 is right here, or -9 is right here, and I know that this is the opposite of +9 because +9 is on this side. It's 9 away from 0, and -9 is also 9 away from 0. It's just on the opposite side of 9, okay? Or opposite side of 0. So you can check your work by counting the distance from 0 on each side. So we remember the last week when we talked about a number line being a 0, that is the same idea, or sorry, absolute value relating to 0. So what if I came across a problem that looked, oops, that's not what I meant to do. What if I came a problem that looked like this? So if I had negative, and then you have in parentheses, -14. How would I read that? I want you to see if you can figure that out. Okay, so you might have discovered that I read that problem as the opposite of -14, or the opposite of 14. If I read it as the opposite of -14, then I start on -14 and go to the opposite. So I'm going to start on -14, and which would be over here, and I would go to the opposite of that, which would be on the other side of my number line. Okay. If I read it as the opposite of 14, then I would start at 14 because I'm starting at 14, and I'm going to the opposite of it, which is that symbol there. So I'm going to go back to 14, -14, and then I'm going to go to the opposite of that -14 and go all the way back. It's hard when I don't have the complete number line, okay? So let's try it with a different number. So let's do the opposite of -4. We'll make this simple right now, okay? So let me get some color coding going on here. So I like to read this as the opposite of -4. So I'm going to start at -4. And I'm going to go to the opposite of it because this is the opposite. And here's the -4 part, okay? So there's my -4, and now I'm going to go to the opposite of it. So I'm going to just quickly count 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's about 4 away from 0. So now I'm going to go to 0, and I'm going to count 4 on the opposite side. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is also 4 from 0. So the opposite of -4 is going to equal +4. Okay, so let's try a different one now. Let's do -7. So if I have -7, I know that it is the opposite of 7 because I have the opposite of 7. Okay, so let me show you that on my number line. Sorry, this pen is dying, of course, so that doesn't help. So I'm going to go to 7, and I know that that's going to be 7 away from 0. So now I'm going to go 7 on the opposite side, which is going to take me to -7. Sorry, +7. So -7 is over here, and the opposite of that is going to be +7. Okay? All right, let's try one more just to make sure getting a different color. So let's do the opposite of negative 10. Okay, so the opposite of negative 10. So we have the opposite of negative 10. So I'm going to go to negative 10, and that's over here. Negative 10. So we have that from 0. Oops. So that's 10 away from 0. So now I'm going to go 10 away from 0 on this side, and that's going to take me to positive 10. So this is the same as this. So positive 10 is the same as the opposite of negative 10. Okay, that can be a lot. So if you need to, you're going to come into my office hours. What you're going to do right now is you're going to go to an IXL practice site and do some of those problems. Oh, I do want to just do a couple word ones real fast. So if I wrote the opposite of 6, how would I represent that in numbers and using negative or positive signs? So if you said, oh, opposite of 6, I'm going to go to 6. Okay. Well, that's, oops, helps if I go to the right number. That's 6. So the opposite 6 is of 6 is going to be negative 6. So that's going to be negative 6. So what if we did the opposite of negative 50? Well, if you're starting on negative 50, which would be way over here, the opposite of negative 50 is going to be on this side of the number line. So that would mean it would be positive 50. Okay, and you could put the plus there, or you could just leave it as a blank 50. So that's a little bit on word form. Okay. Okay, hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. If I did, come to my office hours. I can walk you through it. And then if you're good with this and you're like, I think I got it, go to the IXL practice site and practice some of those problems, and then do the quick Google form just as your check-in for today. Tomorrow we will be having a quiz, not a test, but a quiz going over integer stuff. So please come to my office hours if you are like, I do not understand any of this. That is what that time is for me to reteach anything or clarify any of your questions, okay? All right, have a great day, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye.